Today, I have a story for you guys about this kid who claims that he met Flamingo the YouTuber. He has a bunch of claims about things that happened whenever he met him, and from what he says, Flamingo was very rude to him. I think you guys are gonna find this story pretty funny. I mean, the stuff this kid says and claims is just insane. Like the video right now for 50 bajillion Robux. The boogeyman will show up at your house and hand deliver them to you. Trust me guys, it works, I would know. While you're down there, also subscribe. We're trying to hit 420 trillion subscribers. We're getting pretty close, so let's hit that milestone. And yeah, with that all being said and done, sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. So for today's story, we're gonna call our subscriber Jackson. So Jackson was a pretty big fan of Roblox. That was his main game that he usually spent his free time on. And he also watched a bunch of different Roblox YouTubers and stuff like that. And of course, one of the YouTubers he watched was Flamingo. He was a pretty big fan. He had his merch and everything. So whenever he claims that he ran into him, I'm sure he was very surprised. So this all happened whenever one day Jackson was at the grocery store shopping with his mom, and they were just walking around doing their shopping. Jackson was picking out some stuff that he wanted and helping his mom through her shopping list. So they were walking through the snack aisle looking for some of Jackson's favorite chips. That's when Jackson spotted a man in the same aisle who he says had brown hair and seemed to be around like 5'2", 5'3", and he noticed that he was wearing some of Flamingo's merch. The man started walking down the aisle right towards Jackson, and that's whenever Jackson saw his face, and he noticed that this looked just like the person he watched all the time on YouTube. He didn't believe it at first, but as he got closer, he started to realize like this has to be him. I mean, he's wearing the merch and he looks just like him, so surely it's him, right? So Jackson goes up to his mom and he's like, "Mom, I think that's Flamingo, the YouTuber I always watch. I think that's him right there. Can I go talk to him, please?" And his mom was a little bit skeptical at first. Like, she of course didn't want her son to go and talk to a random stranger, but she was also aware of who Flamingo was because Jackson would always watch him and talk about him. And you know, Jackson talked to his mom about Flamingo and stuff like that. So the name rang the bell, and eventually she agreed. "Sure, honey, but be polite and don't bother him too much, okay?" Jackson, of course, agreed with a nod, and he eagerly stepped up to Flamingo. And at first he hesitated for a bit. He didn't really know what to say, and he was just kind of standing there watching Flamingo browse through the selection of chips in the snack aisle. Eventually, Jackson built up the courage and tried to get Flamingo's attention, and he was like, "Excuse me, Are you Flamingo, the Roblox YouTuber?" Jackson at this point, he was like shaking. He couldn't believe that he was like actually in front of this person who he thought was Flamingo the YouTuber. Flamingo looked down and he was like, "Yeah, I am Flamingo. Are you a fan of the videos?" Jackson says that he was so excited in this moment and his face just lit up and he was like, "I'm Jackson. I'm a huge fan of your videos. You're so funny and I love how you play Roblox." And Flamingo was like, "Yo, thanks Jackson. I appreciate it. You know, it's always nice to meet a fan." And he asked if he wanted a picture or anything. And Jackson, of course, agreed. And they took a picture together. And Jackson was like, "Thank you so much. You know, I love your videos." And then his mom was like, "All right, that's enough, honey. Let's continue shopping and, you know, give this man some space." So Jackson had to leave. And they finished up their shopping and went home. So Jackson, right whenever he got home, he first, you know, helped unload the groceries and all that. And then he went on and started watching all of Flamingo's videos. Just watching the videos and thinking to himself, "I can't believe I just met this guy like in real life. Like, I saw him. I have a picture with him, you know?" And then he started thinking to himself, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be so cool at school once everybody sees that I met Flamingo." But he didn't want to be just cool, right? He wanted to be the coolest cat in all of Cat City, which is what we're gonna call the city that they lived in, Cat City, all right? So he's gonna be the coolest cat in all of Cat City. That's right. So what was Jackson cooking up in his mind to make him the coolest cat? Well, he was coming up with the craziest story about meeting Flamingo. He was going to tell everyone at school, and then he was going to show them the picture that he took with them for proof that it actually happened. So the following Monday, Jackson woke up and he was so excited to share his story with his friends at school. It's all he had been thinking about over the weekend. So Jackson walks into the school building, and first person he sees is his best friend, who we're going to call Toby. He yelled over to his friend and was like, "Toby, you won't believe what happened to me this weekend. Come over here." And Toby walks over and he was like, "Dude, I met Flamingo, the Roblox YouTuber." Toby was like, "No way, dude. That's so cool. Well, what happened? Show me, did you get a picture with him or what?" And this is exactly the moment that Jackson was waiting for. He finally was going to get to tell the story he had been cooking up in his mind, and tell it he did. Jackson started telling his story, and he was like, "So there I was, grocery shopping with my mom, and that's whenever I see Flamingo shopping for chips. So I go up to him, I'm like, 'Dude, Flamingo, I love your videos. Like, I'm a big fan. Can I get a picture?' And that's that's whenever Flamingo pulled out his laptop and loaded up Roblox and was all like, see this game right here? I'm gonna trap you inside of Roblox for the rest of your life. Jackson then claimed that Flamingo put him inside of the game Roblox because supposedly Flamingo had like some crazy connection to the Roblox servers that nobody had. Well, that's what Jackson was saying anyways. I mean, none of the stuff he was saying actually made any sense. But yeah, for some reason he claims that Flamingo put him inside of the game Roblox. But then of course, Jackson was just too smart and he was able to escape within just a couple minutes. Now, Jackson and Toby, they're like middle schoolers, so they like to lie and they like to believe lies. So Toby was believing everything. He was like, dude, no way, that's crazy. What else happened, dude? You gotta tell me. Then Jackson kept going on and he was like, then after I escaped, Flamingo was being so mean to me. He started calling me names and told me that my Roblox character looked stupid and that I was too poor to afford a cool outfit on Roblox. Can you believe he said that to me? And Toby was like, honestly, kind of upset. He was like, wow, I can't believe Flamingo would do that. What a jerk. Jackson was just eating up the attention at this point, and he kept going on and adding more and more things. He said, oh, and when we were at that grocery store, I found one of the Roblox gift cards and I went up to him and asked him if he could buy me some of the Robux, and he said no. I mean, the dude's a millionaire and he said no to me. Like, how rude is that? And Toby just kept seeming more and more upset at the fact that, you know, Flamingo was also one of Toby's favorite YouTubers, and he was just upset that he wasn't the guy that he thought he was, or that's what he was being told anyways. And Toby just really couldn't believe that everything Jackson was saying happened and that Flamingo would act like that in real life. Now, Jackson's story quickly got spread through the school. He would tell people, Toby told friends, and then their friends told friends, and it just got spread all around. Everyone heard the story about Jackson's encounter with Flamingo and how he was super mean to him, and people would come up to Jackson and be like, dude, no way, is Flamingo actually like not a good guy? Was he actually mean? And Jackson would always be like, yeah, he was really mean, he was really rude to me, he wouldn't even buy me Robux, and he trapped me in the game. And this whole drama was just circulating around the school, and Jackson was just absolutely loving that everybody had all of the attention on him. However, it wasn't long before the excitement of Jackson's story began to fade. One day after school, Jackson was hanging out with Toby and their friends, and there was this new kid in school who, for the sake of the story, we're going to call him Ben. So Ben was new to Cat City. He had just moved within the last weekend, and he walked up to the group of friends and he was like, hey Jackson, I heard about your story about Flamingo. You know, that's pretty crazy, but you know, my cousin actually works with Flamingo on some of his videos and he does like editing for him, and he tells me that Flamingo's a really nice guy, so I'm just kind of finding the story hard to believe. At this point, Jackson felt his heart sink to the floor, realizing that his lies might soon be exposed to the whole entire school. Now, of course, the new kid could also potentially be lying, but did he really have a reason to lie about this? I don't know. Jackson responded, well, your cousin must not know him that well because I'm telling you, he was super mean to me. Now, Ben was not buying it. I mean, he was open to it being true, you know, but Jackson was not convincing him. He said, that's strange. Maybe I should ask my cousin to find out what really happened. Jackson's stomach was turned into a knot over this. Like, if this was true and Ben's cousin actually edited for Flamingo, everyone was gonna know that he was making this all up, and nobody was gonna like Jackson because he basically ruined everybody's favorite Roblox YouTuber at school. But Jackson tried to maintain his composure, hoping that everything would go fine, and he was like, yeah, go ahead. I'm not lying. I swear, this is true. Ask him. It's fine. Over the next few days, Jackson's anxiety just kept growing and growing. He didn't know if his lie was going to be exposed to the whole entire school. Like, did Ben tell his cousin and get in contact with Flamingo and like talk to him and find out the truth? Or was Ben just lying for attention on himself, as, you know, he just moved to the school, so maybe he was trying to look like the cool guy to all the people, like, oh, my cousin edits for Flamingo, look at me. Jackson just didn't know though, and he was extremely anxious every day, and he was just constantly thinking about this whole entire story that he told, and you know, how it started as just a fun little tale to gain a little bit of attention, but now it was quickly spiraling out of control. It could really turn his whole entire school against him and make nobody like him. After a few days, Jackson was standing in the hallway with his friends once again, and that's whenever Ben walked up to them again. Jackson was terrified at this point, but was also kind of relieved because he didn't have to sit around wondering all day anymore, and it was either going to be good news or bad news, but regardless, he was going to know the news. So anyways, Ben comes up to them and he goes, hey Jackson, so So I talked to my cousin, and he said that Flamingo did actually meet somebody at a grocery store here. Supposedly, he was on a business trip in the area, and, that all adds up, right? You definitely met him. However, Flamingo says all that happened was that he took a picture with you, and then your mom came over and said, give him some space, and let's go. He doesn't recall ever locking you inside of the game Roblox, or even being asked to buy Robux. And he even said that he would have definitely bought the Robux for the kid. So, Jackson, are you sure you're not making this up? Now, this was right in front of all of Jackson's friends. Like I said, it was Jackson and his friend group standing around, and that's whenever Toby took his step out and he was like, hey man, he's not making this up. Of course he's not. Jackson would never lie. At this point, Jackson's face is just completely red, and everyone looked over to him and he was like, I'm not lying. Maybe he just doesn't remember what happened because he meets so many fans in a day or something. Like, I'm telling you guys, this happened. He was mean. And Ben was like, I don't know, man. My cousin said Flamingo would definitely remember, something like this. And also, he does remember meeting you, which shows, yeah, part of this story is true, but I think you were making a little bit extra up. The other kids started whispering among themselves, and Jackson really felt the weight of everybody's judgment on him. His heart was pounding, and he realized he couldn't keep up this lie any longer. He was on the edge of tears, which, to be honest, is a bit much. Like, I don't know about crying over lying about a Roblox YouTuber to your school, but, I get it. It's stressful, you're caught in a lie, and the only thing you could do is admit the truth. And that's what he did. Jackson said, okay, fine, I made it up. His voice was all shaky, and he just continued on to say, I just wanted to have an exciting story, and I thought it would make me popular, and I could finally be cool. I'm sorry, guys. All the kids around him were muttering. I mean, he had basically convinced the whole entire school that it wasn't cool to watch Flamingo anymore because he was mean. Eventually, it got pretty silent, and Jackson was just standing there, bracing himself for whatever was to come. That's whenever Toby finally put his hand on Jackson's shoulder and was like, it's okay, Jackson, we all make mistakes. Just be honest next time, all right? And at first you could tell people were pretty mad at Jackson, but after Toby said that, people seemed to forgive him, and everyone kind of went back to doing their own thing. A few people went up to him and were like, not cool, man, and were like complaining because they hadn't watched Flamingo in days because they thought that his story was true. But like I said, most of the people were pretty forgiving. Jackson looked over to Toby and he was like, dude, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I promise I'll be honest from now on. I think I learned my lesson.